Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Living Millennially with StefKai. Of course, I mean we are mid-season and it's been so great. You guys have been following, subscribing. It's been a lot of work, but the final episode we'll get into that. But today I have a fashion icon.
Oh. That's the first introduction I've ever. That's the first time we introduced
Joel Nomdarkham, and we actually go way back because from Key Club days we know each other when he was the biggest high schooler in Jamaica, the most popular person. Before we even begin, can I just ask why is it that KC old boys are? What is it a cult? What is it?
Oh my God! For the 100th time, I think it's more like just culture. I don't know if this happens at every school, right? We have a history book, that we have to purchase. Okay. Once we start the school at grade 7, we get to keep that book for the rest of our lives.
So it's like a handbook.
No.
Oh, so it's not a school handbook.
The history of Kingston College. Okay. And once we get that book, we learn about the history, the school, establishing, the founders, the houses, everything. So I don't know if because we get that degree of privilege to know about our school culture at that level, it's literally taught at grade 7. Every grade 7 have to do it. So I think that's where it kind of starts, and it was kind of start appreciate the school.
It's giving low-key creepy, But I mean, we love Kingston College. So we usually start the episode with a game of this or that. So you tell me, is that camera on?
Yes. Okay. We're Living Millennially, everybody. Mm-hmm. We're on.
Okay, we have to do these things, guys, because post is crazy. But so we start with this or that. So you tell me which one you prefer.
Okay.
Up for the game?
Okay.
All right, ready. Public relations or marketing?
Oh wow. Marketing.
Why?
I feel like with PR, I think PR need a different skill set. PR is a lot
sanitized.
more. People think that PR easy, and this is across all the time. I talk about the importance of having all these things different. Mm-hmm. A communication specialist is different than a PR specialist. Is different than a marketing specialist because they're the three completely different
from a social media strategist.
Different from a social media strategist. But PR, I'm afraid of PR. I'm not going to lie. You have to know your thing, and there's extensive work you have to do in order to operate in that space. And I give kudos to every single PR professional. But marketing, we can get crazy.
Okay, fine. So by the end of the episode, I'll teach you some PR tricks because I'm a PR practitioner, and you will teach me some marketing.
There you go.
All right, great. So I saw some time ago you said you wanted to be a filmmaker or a politician. Which one would you prefer now?
Oh God. That's a tough one. That's a very tough one. Because I feel in order to be a thriving filmmaker, I have to be a politician so that I can pass the policies that will make the industry thrive. And that's such a political answer. So yeah.
Thank you. Contestant number 3, Joel Nomdarkham. Okay. Travel solo or travel with friends?
Friends. Yeah.
Okay. I was expecting the opposite.
No. So I have this weird thing, right? I like being by myself, but I'm very awkward when I'm by myself. So it's just the other day, let me explain. It's just the other day, 2 years ago, I comfortably can go to the movies by myself. Is that
but the wall is even lying. The wall is
That's a drop my No, legit. So there are a lot of things. I love being by myself when I'm by myself, but when it comes down to trips and all them, I have to have people around me, or I strive to have people around me. But for 2025, hopefully I can take my first solo trip, meaning by myself, nobody. And I usually travel by myself in terms of on the plane for reach destination, but then my friends and meet me down there. But yeah, I don't like being by myself like that. Yeah, I like being in my own solitude.
Company.
But more company. Yeah. If we go restaurant, one time alone, I go restaurant and sit down and eat by myself.
And you regret it?
It wasn't bad.
But it wasn't good.
It was fine. It was interesting.
I think this next one will get you riled up. Kingston College or Calabar? Next question.
Disrespect.
Right? And then 8:30 to 5 or 12 to 8 shift.
Oh. Wow. 8:30 to 5 or 12 to 8? Wow, I'll have to do 8:30 to 5 because between 12 to 8, that's sleeping time. I actually, people don't believe me when I say Sleep on average for 11
Oh my God,
hours.
we're twins.
Yes.
Twins.
Twin, where have you been? Yeah. On average, I sleep for 11 hours. So I have my nap time, I have regular sleep time, but I can't do a.
And then I have power naps, different from kitty naps, different from full nap, different from sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have some going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So good job. Rate yourself out of 10 quickly. Cooking.
0.
Driving.
10. I like parking.
Dancing.
3.
Singing.
4.
Fashion.
8.5. 9. That's so.
I'm gonna say 10.
All right.
Okay. When was the last time somebody jumped in your inbox?
Last week.
Okay.
With a business proposal.
Okay, great. Good job. So we got all the icebreakers. Oh, now we're gonna start the episode. So today we're talking a little bit about millennials in the workplace, entrepreneurship, pay, why we leaving jobs, all of what's happening in the world, and like changes in the workplace. According to like some recent study, Gen Zs and millennials currently make up like 38% of the global workforce, and by 2030 it will be 58%. So I want to start right there. You're a corporate, I would like to say a corporate maven.
Yeah,
you've been in corporate. Why did you want to leave?
I think it's and I'm going to be as honest as possible, because in one mind I thought I was pushed out against my own will, but at the same time I felt like...
Were you silenced or
we're silenced? No, at one point I felt like I was pushed out of my own will, meaning I wasn't ready to exit at that point in time. But at the same time I was like, Joel, stop being ridiculous. You were preparing to leave. And I think one of the battles that was there as well is I've always seen myself moving from an intern to a CEO in an organization, and CEO. Yeah, and I was on that track. When I started first in corporate, this organization, I've never worked anywhere else. I've only worked there. I moved from intern right up to leaving as a head of department. Yeah, and when I got to that point and I started to like look at my purpose, and you start looking at different things that you want to do, you start looking at the field that you're in, you start to look at, okay, but what else is there to do? You start looking at the challenges and the wins as well. And I felt it was right timing. It was the right timing because looking back a year and a half now, what I've been able to do, I don't think I would have ever been able to do if I was still in corporate in that structured model. I think what I get to enjoy now is sit on the outlines, still taking corporate money, but I don't have to answer to anybody. And I'm able to do what I would have wanted to do in corporate from a creative level, because that was the struggle. That was the divide, corporate and creativity, and being able to do that. So I think the timing was right, and I have zero regrets. The only regret I have is that I had friends in corporate who I'm very close to right now, but we kind of love the little work mix up. Yeah. So like the group chat dead now, and the little thing there, we normally have like 3 different group chats, so the group chat dead. But I talk to everybody individually. Yeah. One of them, I think I still have a group chat with 3 of us, and we just started having fun, like everybody leaving at once, because I left and then my other friend left and then my other friend left, and I'm waiting on 2 more to cut. Yeah. Then we can do like the grand, the big discussion. Yeah. But yeah, man, that was really what happened.
I mean, piggybacking on what you're saying, like as a corporate person as well, I mean, I've worked with government, private, and all of that. I do believe, like as creatives, you're stifled.
Oh yeah.
Because you do have to be thinking about their brand while thinking about your brand.
Yes.
And I mean, like even me working for development organizations, I can't even post certain stuff on social media. Yeah. So certain rhetorics and just conversations that I want to participate in, like I can't do it.
You can't.
And I'm just so stifled.
You can't.
Right?
And it was the same for me because I was working in an organization that does advertising. So me can go online when nobody give me a careless service and scan on nobody become, I have to go check to see if them advertise with me, and then we know what here to the head of marketing go say whatever. And I also think in terms of the constant struggle between striking that balance with creativity, output and profit, because all the time they believe that these are the things. Remember, say you have some look at old dinosaur, and in my case we had white people, and there's a big conversation in Jamaica that we tend to skirt around. These people coming here believing that they know the market and want to kind of tell you how it goes. And it's a big conversation. No, honestly, it's a big conversation that happened. I think we kind of skirt around it too much. And then on the other side, you have the same whites who chill and cool and say, listen, all right, then whatever it is that you come with, you know, this is good. You can also do X and Y and then work with you. So you have the two different types. You have the whites and the whites, right? So that is something that I think we need to have more conversations about, because I was faced with a lot of that, which is another reason why I would have exited. Left. Because nobody now come, no, listen. I'm a young, proud, strong black man. And nobody now come tell me with them, foolishness. But it's the creative side and just the stifling of that really prevents a lot of young marketers and burgeoning marketers to do well, because of bureaucratic red tapes and all that thing in place.
Yeah, because I mean, like, even as you said, like white people and whatever, like working in development for me, it's like someone telling you how to arrange your house, and you're like, I've been living here all my life.
Yeah, and nobody's saying that you don't have a wealth of experience.
To go with it because, you know, that's the order of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just understanding too that a lot of politics goes into like corporate world and just like working in an environment. So that's where I want to touch on a little bit. Like, you left corporate, doing your own thing, entrepreneurship as a millennial manager. How do you leverage that to not do the same thing to your workers?
It's funny because I also feel I also have improvements to make, because one of the first thing that he said it. No, honestly,
so he's working on it.
I'm working on it because I have improvements to make as well. So first things first, my company is chaotic. That's the first thing I tell anybody before they
What's the name of the company?
Ampliyfy Studios. We're chaotic because I'm a chaotic person, right? I want to say chaotic, I don't mean like we're not going to deliver upon the clients. The problem is how we deliver. And because of how in my head, and I'm trying to be like, okay, Joel, not because you're a chaotic means a company needs to be chaotic, but that's the first thing I tell everybody. You come over here, you're not come mix no tea, you're not come run no errands for nobody because you're nobody's slave. You're coming to build strategy, you're going to work, you're going to interact with clients, I'm going to pay you money, and you learn and you grow about your business. Because I don't want, like, you don't need to be with me for 2 years, right? And how I ensure that I try to avoid making those same mistakes is I give my team members full length to create what they want to do and how to come up with ideas of their own. And the problem is and most of them would have been Gen Zers coming up now, can't think on them own because ChatGPT, they're telling them everything. Right now, out to harness and to as you see the caption, I mean, no say ChatGPT to harness.
No, ChatGPT has a way of writing, right? So and I'm like, only can't even go there and change this discombobulated to like ravel, right?
So you're working with a new generation who can't really think on them own, and then I'm not going to make a broad scope thing because I have two of them really good. Like, but guess what happened? I had to throw them in the water for them to learn, right? And that's something that I did that I didn't get, because of the liberty to grow in your own creativity and come with ideas. Half the stuff that we were able to execute for clients is as a result of my interns that I started them out with, and then some of them move on to become associates, and one of them is now a manager, and them learn everything upon them own. I said, go confirm with Google and YouTube University before you come back to me with foolishness. And they've adopted that now where I don't get no full questions. You know what I mean? So that is something that I try to do because I feel like I learned because I took the initiative and the effort to go research, experiment, and try. Yes, Alexa, she agrees. Right? So I try to do that, but also from a more humane level, I think I do have some work to do because I also have to give them
Are you
grace.
a hard boss?
Yes.
Like, deadlines are a big thing for you.
Yeah. But I'm also a messy boss because I'm going to come and laugh with you.
Yeah.
And say, you know.
So it's like messy then hard. You're like, oh, I can't manage. Like, what mood am I getting today?
Yeah. So I'm that kind of boss.
Yeah.
But I become that kind of boss because I've entrusted you to do your job. And as such, I think that's where the divide falls. But I have an incredible team.
Yeah.
How many people? 4 of us.
Yeah.
I have an incredible team. And they have been really, I've seen the growth. It was a really, I would have started the company June of 2023.
Yeah.
And I started onboarding people like September, October. And it would have been a stringent 4-6 months with me. So, but at the end of the day, them can go work in a proper corporate entity right now at the managerial level.
Because they have gotten that kind of wealth of information from you. Listen, like, I remember when I started at my first job, big up to Winsome Hudson, who really started out my career. Like, she took me fresh out of university. And I was getting $90,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that was gross. And I'm just like looking back now, I'm like, it's those situations and you know, jobs that really has built the professional that I am today, because like I had to make fashion out of nothing.
Yeah.
And you know, coming on now and just like seeing the world out there, I think that's what you're saying with Gen Zers. They don't have that because they're coming into a space that's so technologically advanced. And a lot of the things, them can't get it on ChatGPT, but we had to work from the ground up.
We had to do our promotion.
Right.
So now them come, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that. I'm like, I had to go out in the sun with gear out flyer, and that's why I'm a rounded marketer, because I know how to have conversations with the clients and the public and the people who are purchasing the product that we are also selling. So there's also that aspect of it as well, which I think is key. So we got an opportunity to kind of just grow. A lot of them now are hesitant to like experiencing new things, but we didn't have a chance, or we never had a decision to experience that. And I think it's one of the best things. Promotion, I hated promotion. Just the other day I was talking to one of my first managers and I was like, girl, you know, somebody hate when they give me poster for good people, but I appreciated it because you get to have one-on-one. You get some, no, me no want that.
And you build a network.
And you build a network as well. Some want it, some don't. My esthetician right now, I met her because of having to do something that people would consider as admin work. Yeah. And now 10 years later, me and her are like the best of friends and she take care of my skin.
Yeah. And I just think it's understanding too, like every part of the process is important. So whether you're the secretary or the
everything is
waterman or whatever, everything is important.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. There is so much to talk about. I know, like, for me, role stratification is something that I find in Jamaica. That's a great, like, disservice to people. You know, you have a social media marketer who is doing public relations, marketing, accounting, lawyer, you know, legal work. And I'm like, what is it now? Like some of these adverts, and I mean, like the government is trying to be attractive to pull people back from the private sector and development sectors, but some of these salaries are not cutting it at all. What's your thoughts on that?
It goes back to, for me, the government will always government, no matter who is in charge or who running it. They will always have pay scales.
I like that. The government will always government.
They will always have pay scale. They will always have what do you call it, different tiers of what pay is supposed to look like and all that kind of things. What I urge people to do is you have to be smart in terms of how you operate in the system. And this is where you have to now start, in addition to whatever 9-to-5 or government job you may take on, you need to have something else that go on for you, because that's never going to change. That's capitalism, where FUCKED, and that's going to just be what it is, right? It's not going to change. What you have to do is you have to operate in the system, which means you still have to go out and get some little 90 grand a month work, because guess what happened? At the end of the day, you bill experience, right? Because it's a two-way argument. You can't just want to come out of your bed and want $3 million a year, right? With what?
With like 1 month.
Meanwhile, you have 10 people with 5 years or whatever. So the whole experience conversation, we need to be honest with ourselves, right? My encouragement and what my thoughts is where that is concerned, you need to have something else going for you. The pandemic would have taught us that at any moment you can be laid off. It's not your workplace, it's not your company. Some of us are sitting on some really good talents, some hidden talents and some hidden skill sets that can easily compensate both mentally and financially if we truly sit down and tap into it. So the moment we separate ourselves from what the state, why the state exists and why the state should be doing this for us and providing for us, the state is always going to state. We just need to make sure so we find our God-given talents and things that make us extraordinary. And sometimes it takes just sitting down and reflecting. So honestly, when we get asked a question, there's sometimes we don't even know how to respond, because I know that's just how society is, and capitalism, and it's never going to change. It's going to remain the same. But you have to find how you operate in the system. So you have you go give government them 8 to 5. You need to make sure you have your 8 to 12. When they put on the computer and do little things, and they have a little 4 to 9, where it can really help to supplement in other ways.
And I mean, like what's happening now too is that a lot of companies are going on the Canvas, the Chat GPTs, and preparing all of these things like it's coming from scratch and being paid so many dollars to just do something that you could do to and start a side hustle. You know? So it's like also understanding that even if you don't have much of a skill set or something, you can go up on Canva and learn how to make 2 flyer
and
charge people
offer service. Because honestly, as I said before, you have to find, you know, and that's kind of like something I wish I did earlier. In terms of even the company that I started last year, my company, if I would have started to, I mean, I was doing groundwork, but not formal groundwork. So me make sure I still give the government them tax. As I say, operating the system, get them follow the rules. Cause you know, come audit me and see me no chicken in the business. Yeah. So I'm gonna make sure I do all of that. So when I talk with my chest now, me have accountability as well. So when it comes on to jobs and the space that we operate in and the opportunities that are lacking or opportunities that are not there, you have to create some for yourself, because you can't depend upon something which already has a pattern. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
and you can't go in and change a robust system that exists. It's crazy. I mean, like for me, a lot of my friends and like former coworkers would know that I'm like a Martin Luther King anywhere I go. I believe in the justice of the people. And I mean, even though you do get pushback from upper heads, sometimes you do have to have that resilience to push past the bureaucracy, because change can be made. Yeah. That is how I managed to get jeans being worn every Friday at an organization. Yeah. Because it was only at the last Friday in the month. And I'm like, jeans doesn't affect productivity. Yeah. So, you know, even understanding that there's a process, still fight, because that's how you build your professional career too. You know, resilience, you know. So like we're talking about that now, work-life balance. Yeah. Gen Zers they have a hard stop at 5. They're like 5 o'clock and I'm done. We are a little bit different. We're passionate. We want to see this project.
You see, you know, me not means none, but come about broad. I always believe
wrong song.
That there's something
wrong song, sorry.
No, we need to be honest, right? I for example, my team, it's all informal. There's no clock. These are the projects the way you need to do. Me need to talk to you. Make sure that the deadlines and the clients them happy. Me don't need to have no conversation with you. And then sometimes they come on, but Joe, and I'm like, all right, glad I could talk.
You did that TikTok recently, doing that like personal video, Millennial Manager.
Right? Girl, why I love joining the call with the camera on. Camera for when HR have town hall and them something. I don't really want to see none of this man. Well, actually, more soon, because me so want to have love bump and more want to know which one. So just kind of turn on the cameras, please. If you want the time off, where have to do? Come and say that I'll be apply for college and some other stuff. Girl, just take the time and go and do it. Just send one note. Just do the work. Send something in the group chat. Say you have the way. Where you go waste a vacation? In fact, me depend. Next week I'm supposed to take vacation. Hey, if none of you ever chat to man.
So your business is your business. If you want to stop at 5 o'clock, go and go stop at 5 o'clock. But no, say, your friend who's been putting in some extra work when the promotion time come, you're gonna get overlooked. Because guess what happens? When you're looking to promote somebody, you're looking for a hard worker, you're looking for somebody who's resilient, you're looking for somebody who come with creativity, and those things kind of take time. You're looking at attitude as well. So I don't like when I see the conversation in the space and everybody's like, oh my God, I'm protecting my peace and I'm protecting my mental health and I have to stop at 5 o'clock. Sure, stop at 5, but guess what happens? Don't complain when it is that there are other measures outside of what you do that are considered for other things that would make you better in an organization. And I'm not saying that there are a lot of employees that are also being abused.
Yes.
Right?
Because I was going to touch on that to say, like, where do we draw the line?
There's that as well. Again, it comes back to personal ambition and personal drive and why you're in a certain position for what reason. You have some people who say, yo, this is just money. Dep on the clock. Gone home to me pitting them and them content. Yeah. But if you are looking for upward mobility, stretching beyond just because this is not that place of work is not your final stop. You're going to endure some hardship and you're going to endure some wins. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have not like blasted my previous employer for how I exited, because then sent me go foreign 3 times. When I got the eureka moment for my marketing careers when I was in social media, when I was at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego that my manager sent me to. So there are a lot of benefits that I honestly 80% of my experience would have been good, 20% bad because of fool people. And I look back at that and I'm like, but at the same time I got these promotions because I'm operating between an 8 to 5, but I go beyond my JD. Me help HR with them internal things. Products need something to give my ideas. Meanwhile, other co-workers are leaving at 5. So when I get promoted to HOD or other role, nobody can say nothing because I put in the work. But I think it's a delicate balance, and it comes back down to a personal drive and ambition. Some people just don't have ambition, and that's fine. They want to do 8 to 5, do them work, go home to them pitney and them husband or them wife, and go again 8 o'clock the following day. Meanwhile, some of we who are looking for probably go work with an Apple or a Facebook or a Meta or whatever the case may be, we might put in a little extra time because we need a little, instead of junior manager, we need a senior manager within 6 months, and you start plans. So that story to me is everybody's own story.
Yeah.
But there are also the monster managers who are abusive of people's time and have no respect.
Call name.
Me not to be experience them. Me that probably the answer to them. but
no, I can relate to that. I know that some of my former supervisors were like, Stefan, honestly, good work, or that's what's saving you. And I mean, like, it's true what you're saying, just like in your professional life. There's a time when you're building, and then there's a time when you really reach a level now where you can't ask for the money, or you can't do anything else. I feel like you buck and you move on. But I feel like in the space too, a lot of people are like shaming people. They're like, we're not going to look at entrepreneurship. And I'm just
people
like,
too much. You realize that all I've been saying is go off your own objectives and personal goals.
So you just want to go work 8 to 5 and then that's it. You don't want to do nothing else.
Listen, if I'm not me, I will never say I'll never go back into corporate. But I want to look at offer right now where look a little nice, right? And I would go back into corporate if one, I have autonomy, and if I'm running the team, and nobody now come tell me no foolishness. And
so you believe you're at a level now where you cannot be an officer anymore?
No.
You have to be a supervisor.
I have to go CMO. I have to be a CMO. I mean, I'm a chief in my own company. I don't need nobody else validation.
So you can't go up and then I come back down.
Me come back down if the money nice. You can't call me marketing post, marketing rat. You give me a 15 million a year. Yeah, man. But again, you're looking at flexibility as well, like ensuring that you have certain things done. But then, like the consultants so far. But you're right, Steph. In the case of you're looking at it and you're like, okay, then the people who discourage, say certain discouraging thing. Or sometimes I see people cuss all the time. Oh, but you have a 9 to 5, you're working for other people. Yeah, I have a 9 to 5 and I'm collecting 8 million a year. You're an entrepreneur suffering because you have to ensure that you make ends meet. And meanwhile, you're coming and telling me how to do what me need to do. So everybody have their own thing. And then I can also be a thriving entrepreneur, which there are so many of them. And I just mind my business. And I can say, here are some tips why you should take your time to leave corporate rather than saying, okay, leave corporate. No.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the conversation should be, because there is value in a 9 to 5. There is value in entrepreneurship. But the best value is when you know where you are and how you operate in the system.
In yourself.
Well, when me have my 9 to 5, every day I'm there with my host event. So them clamp down for me and start one. I say I go Belize. One time I go Belize and I mean we're all working remotely. And they clamped down on me. Oh, how are you in Belize? And you're off the clock. The meeting lasted like 2 minutes. Because I had to explain to them that one, we're all working remotely. And two, I can take my lunchtime and fly. So what's the issue? I was in every meeting. I was in all my meetings. I was present everywhere. But again, those are things as well what kind of make
people see me on my social media and like, work. And I'm like, I am, but I work remotely. So I get to travel. There's a question I want to ask you though. Do you think HR is for the people or the system?
It's not.
Okay. People, let's have that conversation.
It's not.
I remember I was at a workplace once and I made a complaint and I felt severely gaslighted. It was like, honestly, you just need to be a team player, and I'm just like,
I love your good voice.
When does HR actually care for the people?
They don't. They do not. HR is like high school, where you have students council president and you have the head boy and the head girl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can relate to that.
I can relate to it because really, no. Me and my principal, we had an objective. The school need, me and my principal good because we have an objective. The students need to operate a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to go. I'm me side and support my principal.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have students council president now who will come and bring the issues of the students, and it's literally like corporate. HR is supposed to be a servant of the organization, which doesn't necessarily mean it's for the people or for leadership. HR is supposed to make sure that the ship runs proper
of the
organization. So if that's the case, an organization can get sour because of poor employee relations, or it can thrive because of exceptional leadership and employee relations. I find it that here in this country, and probably otherwise, because I've seen so many horror stories, HR doesn't necessarily know that they are supposed to represent the best interests of the company.
And that includes employees.
And that includes their employees. So it's like an extension of leadership, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's a form of kind of slave ship driving where share what you want to.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna listen.
And then you're doing ridiculous. And you're doing ridiculous surveys, which never. Oh my God, I cannot tell you.
I don't do exit surveys.
How many people?
I don't do exit surveys.
Yeah, like you do surveys and then we look for the results. Like what has been produced. Okay, how can we make the workplace better? Probably it's my experience that I had with HR that wasn't the greatest in some element, because I had some HR manager that understood it, but then in no time they're fired or they left because I guess they were kind of getting into saving the organization and not necessarily leadership. But if leadership don't want to hear something, they're going to sack you. Goodbye.
Yeah, next. And then also sometimes leadership gets the picture a little late, because you may get sacked and then 2 years later you see like the same things you were saying are instituted, you know?
Yeah.
And even in the age of social media where like a lot of brands and stuff doing things the traditional way, they have to do it the influencer way now because that's what gets the leads, that's what gets the engagement, you know?
Yeah.
And as a marketer yourself, and we both can relate to this, where you find sometimes that a lot of dollars go into these big campaigns, but like what's the real results and impact? What are we yielding?
Steph, you're out for drawing me out today, you know?
What are we yielding? What are we yielding?
Sometimes I see some ridiculous spends going behind some activations, and these people are not even spending on their own foundation's marketing. Right? You see some big money go behind something, and then I'm have a look foundation. You go up on the foundation page tacky. No little storytelling, nothing, because
human interest.
Everybody who for friend work over there, so and big this and big that. And I feel like where that is concerned, and that's one of the reasons why I would have even started my own marketing agency, because I didn't get an opportunity to fully tap into social impact marketing because the stupid people have never want to listen. No, I don't even think them bounce back yet.
Can you explain a little bit what social impact?
So it's pretty much like using so you're looking at corporate social responsibility, and you're looking at how you can use that as a vehicle to do marketing, but telling more stories and how that impacts your clientele. So for example, you work at one bank. Nobody go tell the people to take out this loan. Find 5 people who have taken out the loan, tell their story of how the loan has impacted them, how that changed them life. Or for graduation, the loan help for pay for. You put on one little wedding where you date the man for 10 years, and because you take out the loan, you can't help. You got the wedding, you show to. That is so much more than just saying, here's a 10%, like take out this 10% loan. So what I try to do is I work with companies and get those high points that they want to communicate, and figure out a way to do it. You know, just wrapping up project with for Champs, and when I tell you, it's one of the most incredible projects I've ever worked on, because again, Champs, the KC, the Calabar, the JC, all those schools get amazing.
Ready for Champs, like
all of them schools always in the spotlight. We got 14 schools who are never in the spotlight at that level, and you get to go and see it, and the company has given them cash grants, them thing them want to see. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to the big advertising spend and what companies are doing, sometimes a lot of the directors that sit at that level are misguided. They have no clue. They don't know about return on advertising spend. They don't know about tracking leads. They don't know about key performing indicators. They don't know nothing. So they just see the money, and somebody, this too. Why every church event and everything, once has something to do with church or something, the budget is like automatically given. That's something that I've been starting to realize as well.
No, because we are a country that's built on Christian principles.
It is crazy, because then you go one like a toilet and mash up down one school, and you go, you say, see one toilet and mash up 10 pitney, if you have access to it, it's not in the budget.
So, Joe, I know you are like an expert. Jamaican ads,
jingles.
They have a way of doing things. What's your thoughts on that? You did some on social media recently commenting on the World
Down Syndrome Day. Yeah. Oh, God, that was beautiful storytelling.
Hey, bartender. You assume that I cannot drink a margarita, so you don't serve me a margarita? so I don't drink a margarita. Your assumption becomes reality. And parents, you assume that I cannot live on my own, so you don't encourage me to live on my own, so I don't live on my own. Coach, you assume that I cannot hit harder, so you don't train me to hit harder, so I don't hit harder. And teacher, you assume that I cannot learn Shakespeare, so you don't teach me Shakespeare.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
So I don't learn Shakespeare. E-I-E-I-O. But hey, if all your assumptions become reality, then assume that I can drink a margarita. So you serve me a margarita, so I drink a margarita. Assume that I can live on my own, so I live on my own. Assume that I can hit harder, so I hit harder. Assume that I can learn Shakespeare. So, what fools these mortals be? I learned Shakespeare. You assume I can swear, right? Assume that I can do that job. That I can go to parties. That I can have sex. That I can be on stage. Assume that I can. So maybe I will.
I think, again, we are stuck in traditional ways of how advertising is done.
True.
And for the companies who may be shaking up their advertising a little bit more, if we check who might be leading marketing or the agency that they have, probably some people who generally think outside of the box. But I think as an as a country, we can do way better.
Yeah.
As it pertains to ads in general, while there are several ways in which it can be more creative, personally, I don't think companies are doing enough to feature our disabled community, right? And let me tell you why I said that. So that's the only about with advertising and all. I don't want, but me just feel from an inclusive standpoint, we need to do better. And it's like we don't feel that they're able to do anything. And I'd love to see a more inclusive approach. The other day, I was talking to Tony Aiken, who does sign language interpretation, and Tony shared something with me that I didn't know at all. So I'm here thinking that I'm being inclusive to the deaf community by putting subtitles on every video that I do. Because I think ahead. And she's like, yeah, while that helps, remember that their first language is sign language. Say, yeah. So, which means that what brands should really be doing is every ad you put out or something you put out, you have interpretation taking place in the bottom left or bottom right. I think it's the bottom right, sized up so that you don't have the person. Yeah. And that was mind blowing for me because I'm thinking, here I am thinking ahead of other people who are not even putting subtitles because subtitles does help.
Yes.
But again, we need to be a lot more educated and intentional about what we're doing. So even the children's book that I'm working on, it will also have interpretation taking place there, plus captions. Because again, somebody might say something and you in a Grenada don't understand. Where they must say you have your subtitles and whatever the case may be. So,
but you know, I want to
seeing all sorts. You know,
I want to talk about two things. Sure. As in, like, as a public relations and communications professional, like what I find is that we get the least budget sometimes, right? Yeah. We get the least budget, and sometimes I'm just so upset. Like, you want the world. And I give it like $5.
Yep.
And it's like sometimes the network that we have, which is why we should get the money, because like if we never know, if I didn't know you or you never know somebody else, you know, certain things would have been instituted. And then also going back on what you're saying, like I feel like managers sometimes, when the buck stops with someone who doesn't really understand the niche, the technicality, not saying that managers are bad, because we do need to represent the organization, but if we say choose blue, because I think it will change the mood of people, but they want yellow, and then the campaign goes to like shits. I'm so fed up of that, like working and not understanding the vision sometimes, that if you hire me, I'm the technocrat, and even though you're the manager, like when will I get to really execute and do my work?
And sometimes we all get caught up in thinking that what the campaigns that we're creating is for us, when it's for the consumers, which means all you need to do is a little...
Because you just want to write in our annual report.
Just do a focus group and get people. So that's so the spend, the campaigns, the visuals, and that's why a lot of brands keep making a blunder, because they sit in a boardroom and they decide this is what's best for the campaign without consulting the consumers, the people who are actually going to interact with this product. You see that all the time. And I think if they take an opportunity to just step back, understand that they're not marketing to themselves. So whether you like the blue or the green, that doesn't matter. Does the consumer like it?
Yeah, so I just feel like a lot of ad spend is, sometimes wasted, and just managers need to understand that if you hire me to do a technical job, then allow me to do that within the auspices and the confines of the role. And sometimes I feel like as millennials, that's why we leave corporate sometimes, as you said, because you're so stifled. You want the most out of us, but we can't get to flex our muscles. So you come in here like you want a creative director, but how creative do you want the director to be?
Yeah. And then you start looking at some ridiculous things that I think just that overall, my friend that works at LinkedIn, they did a campaign the other day.
My friends that works at LinkedIn, you're just dropping that so lightly, like, oh yeah, my friends at the White House,
I say it because it was so integral learning some of the work and thought pattern that went into the campaign. So he was a big part of that, and the campaign was pretty much looking at redefining professionalism in the workplace. Right? We out here. Still, I tell people about hair color. I remember the first day I dyed my beard.
And it was an issue.
And them nearly dropped down. Luckily, I had a manager at the time and she was like, he's doing his work and he's meeting his targets.
What's the issue?
And then they started to be like, okay, there are two people in the organ. There's two extreme to dress in the organ. There's Joel and then there's this other old guy where we're tie and thing all the day. Anyway, I found it funny, but they kind of shake up things. With my dye hair, my dye beard, I start with my African printed pants and my 3/4 pants and my up here, so my sneakers and
fashion icon.
Whatever.
Icon.
But I mentioned that because the focus is sometimes too much on like things that don't really matter in terms of output. We would have seen during the pandemic how hyper productive some people became because you were able to operate in a comfortable space. Something that a lot of people also missed is that for those who are not necessarily social, and it's not social like they choose not to be, it's just probably disorders, how anxiety may act
ADHD,
up at any time, so
depression.
A lot of those people got an opportunity to kind of just get a break from all of that and just focus on doing them work. And then you look on it now and pandemic done-ish and everything gone back to square one. You get back people in office, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes like the focus, as you mentioned, is just so off. And there are so many opportunities missed to accelerate people's performance, productivity, growth, interest.
Because we're stymied, like we're burnt out.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what the work world does for us. And that's a perfect way to just segue back into what we were talking about a little earlier, work-life balance.
Yes.
Like a lot of Gen Z see us, working hard and, on the gram and taking pictures, you traveling all over, me traveling all over.
Yeah.
But not knowing that behind all of this, we're in meetings like almost all day
every
long.
day, taking a meeting at the beach. And that's the thing. Again, what social media has done, not only across generations, because you have some big careless people, some big
careless people, very
man
careless.
and woman, whether upon social
very
media.
Careless. You always want people calling him.
Messy, no example whatsoever, right?
Messy Betty's.
So we're going to be very general. It's across the board that social media has really made some of these folks crazy. But for those who, the next generation looking to enter the workspace, they're looking at us millennials because we are a good bridge between the knowledge we would have gotten from our former folks and the information we're experiencing now and what we can see and encourage you to do as you become Obayaso, right? And there's a misunderstanding, I think, as it pertains to the work-life balance aspect because Gen Z in particular, in this case, they're sucked into social media, which is what 5% of people's actual95%
it's
polished,
fabrication,
5% real, and there are some expectations there. So something I did at TikTok the other day, I was talking about how the fact that sometimes I get a lot of messages from young people who want to work with me, and they see what I do, and I'll start of something, right?
But are they ready?
No. So when you look upon it now, you see me this, and then you're fascinated now trying to understand how it is that I get to do that. Fam, me up on a jet ski 12 to 1, but by 1:15 I have a meeting. Me not
Can you turn on your cameras,
meeting.
please? I'm sorry, my mic was muted.
And a lot of times I think that as millennials, most of us, because you're balancing real life and then you're kind of in the social media now and then. So when on a time, fair share everything what we do, right? So there's a misunderstanding there, but they are exposed to this online fabrication and instantaneous thing where, me can do this too. The other day they came for one of my friends on TikTok saying to her, you need to post more of your work because she always, girl, do our thing. carnival, dress up nice, and meanwhile being a corporate manager in a company where that pays for her. My very beautiful good friend, right? And girl, I do her thing, go on her tour, and then you have a comment and say she need to share more how she comes around. That's crazy. That's just. I'm sure, and probably that wasn't even a Gen Z. That was probably again, Matilda says across the board thing, right? You don't owe anybody. No, we don't owe you anything. What you need to do is to figure out how best it is that you can operate in the system. There are so many other Gen Zers I'm so proud of. My business partner is Gen Z. And sometimes in teach me to something with the text something and I'm like, dude, like, man, just email me. Oh no, we need to use Google Workspace. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I'm like, I'll actually like Google Workspace now. And he's a hard worker who is determined to get what he want to do. So you just need to figure out how you want to operate. Again, when you realize if I'm there for the whole conversation, I'm not telling you, said this is the formula for do whatever you need to do. But all I tell you is that you need to decide how you want to show up and how it is that you want to succeed and how it is that you want to prepare yourself further. And if you have no interest in that, you don't need to.
I'm very big on leaving legacy. Any organization that I go to, I'm a legacy leaver. I'm a legacy builder. And nowadays I find with Gen Z folks, it's like they know their worth. But when you're put to the test, they see people on camera, and when you put them in front of a camera, they can't necessarily do it, you know? They see people doing marketing, but when you need to write a strategy or a comms plan, can you do it?
Yeah.
You know, and even going to school now, like the universities and so on, getting all of that, you know, things. When we were in university too, we were doing these little internships and so on to build our capacity because it's not only at a university that you will learn your professional life. You're going to be learning through your entire life.
We're still learning. We don't have
it all figured out because sometimes when people ask me to do a plan, I'm like, Lord Jesus, I don't know what I do. What am I doing? And I'm like almost 10 years in the game now, right? So what you're saying is totally right. And in just like work-life balance, do you even have time to date and like have a love life because you have to think about work? Like for you, you're always all over. How do you manage that? Give them advice in like managing yourself, but also knowing that work can be fun.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is to ensure that, again, and knowing your worth is subjective.
Yeah.
It's not
your worth is not based on an organization.
No, it's not.
You come with something and they need to either meet you where you're at, because I also find, sorry to cut you, Jamaicans always say that. Sorry to cut you, they will proceed to cut you. But like, we go into spaces where like we're just doing this for the money and not realizing that when you go to a job interview, you also need to ask, will this fit me?
You need to interview them.
What's the culture here? Will I leave having to take the same money that I'm getting to go to a mental institution?
Yeah.
You know, so people need to understand that too, that when you're interviewing, you're also interviewing them.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, in that same breath, again, you knowing your worth, as I said before, is subjective because you know what you're about. And not everybody will operate at that same frequency, right? So that's number one. And in knowing your worth and knowing what are certain lines you will cross and what are certain lines you won't cross. For me, I love as I say, I sleep for 11 hours. I not sacrifice that for nothing, right? However, if I manage a project,
why are we
that's
twins?
Putting money in my pockets because I think so, all right, then when you go to the Canva conference in May and that project is big enough, so I have to put out some extra work, I will cut down to 8 hours of sleep. I mean,
just for a little bit,
just a little bit, right? Right? And I will do what I need to do, and that's a representation of the fact that you move around things in understanding your worth and knowing that you still have to go make little room for certain things, because your worth also means you want to hop on a plane, you want to go to the countryside, you want to purchase a new device, so you have to sacrifice around. You know, we're not selling a magic pill around here, right? And in striking that balance now, it comes down to, all right, then, I work on a project and I'm going to answer you after work hours, but it's not going to be a habit.
Yeah.
And you're going to set you straight in a certain way. So those are like the little things. And we
just set the boundaries from beginning, because I mean, like even working, you have to set boundaries.
Yes, you have to set boundaries. But when it comes down to a holistic thing, you're looking at your dating life, you're looking at your family life, you're looking at your entertainment life and all of that. You have to figure out what your priorities are, and you have to figure out what your long-term and short-term goals are as well, right? And when I say that, I mean you have to look at, all right then, how is this integral now, and how is this not necessarily needed at the moment.
Yeah.
But certain things I don't think you should ever sacrifice. Family, time that you spend with your friends and your partner, those are really what keeps you going, because them are going to listen to your event every day. So that you can find some time in the day.
There was some research out that say we spend most of our lives at work.
At work, right? And I feel like there should be those are things that are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You know? Again, depending on the context of things. If you're going to move for a new opportunity or whatever the case may be, you sit down and you say, okay, we probably need to break up because down the line, I can buy one house. And right now, me need to move, and the partner say, boy, you can't go nowhere. And well, bye. It's because at the end of the day, you have a long-term goal, because you have long-term and short-term. So as I say, it's a very subjective thing. It's a personal thing. But I also believe that at no point in time, you should ever run yourself into the ground. Ever. And we all know what running yourself into the ground means. It means you literally have zero time. You're operating as a robot. If it gets to that point, then I do believe that you have to now find really stringent tactics to strike a balance. And you might look at it and say, I have to do this because I have ends to meet. Again, sometimes we're in that position. Yeah, we're in that position
because we need to pay the light because JPS no business.
But what else can you do? Again, I think everybody, probably this is a weakness of mine. I see goodness in everybody, I feel like everybody have a talent. I feel like something that if a straw hat you're gonna make some money because you can make straw. I just always feel like people have something that's internal that can complement
their existence
and purpose. Yeah. Me just always, me don't know if I'm a magic one, I'm always a help people find that too, right? So looking at this woo woo whoosh wash wash bam, find your purpose. But no man, the burnout thing, the rundown thing. You have to be strategic and intentional as well, because we can always say this and it sounds nice, like, oh, if you don't like the job, leave it. No, you can't do that. You have a car payment, you have a mortgage, you have a child, you have your family. But at the same time, you have to take a personal responsibility.
And also, when you say personal responsibility, take a personal responsibility to not take things at work personal. When work ends at 5, leave it there. That's something I practiced over the years, where like, if I'm working on a project, it's not working. I'm like, guess what? At the end of the day, this company will go on if I leave, or when I leave. Or if my drop down dead, then I'm going to send condolences to my family, send 2 flowers. Business goes on.
On the program.
Right. So take care of yourself. And in talking about knowing your worth, you have like this whole big thing coming up. Let's talk a little bit about that.
No, again, knowing your worth and meaning, like, again, just testing new things, finding new things to do.
So what are you working on?
And one of the things that I'm working on.
Exclusive.
One of the things that I've been working on is I've taken up reading as a serious thing. I never ever see this in my life, guys, when I tell you.
Well, I mean, I could have seen that you were a reader, because like...
No, like, me not read book, right? And my friend gave me one book and she said, go read this.
So you said fully done?
Yep. No. I still don't, like, I purchased some big, like, as a part of my master's program, I had to purchase these big books. You want to see them dusty. Probably Spider and I'll be able to them in there.
I just want to say, before you continue, like, I've never really read my lit books. I did Spark Notes.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Tips.
Yeah, right?
But nonetheless, again, finding a passion and purpose. And I've been, reading seriously now for 2 years, almost 2 years. And as such, it would have really opened my eyes up to certain things. Yeah. And we started a little project called Reading and Reasoning. And I would have started to focus on boys in particular, because the rates are terrible.
Alarming.
The statistics is really bad. And that's just Jamaica and the governments have literacy rate. What I try to do is I'm trying to reignite a passion and love for reading, because I feel if that's ignited, then you take the time.
I think you said something the other day, like, your thing is that don't do it for the word, do it for you, like what you want to do.
What you want to do. And the impact that it would have. So I started a reading project, and then I realized that I kept on spending money based on donors, and I want to big up all my donors and sponsors who consistently show up. I buy one bag of foreign book about Pat the cat.
Who stole my cheese?
And Michelle the mongoose. So I said, no man. And then I started to realize that a lot of the kids were fascinated with like the camera. Because my friends would come and take content and they want to film. And I say, okay, this is cool. And I pulled my same friend, Latoya. Her name is Latoya. She gave me the book. I pulled her a
B.I.A.J., right?
Yes, Latoya West Blackwood. Big up she. She is a literacy hero.
She is.
And I said, Latoya, I think I want to do a children's book. And she's like, okay. I'm gonna start put it together. The project from 2022 thoughts. We'll spend 2023. I do some research and stuff. And right now, I have 30 professionals who span several careers in marketing.
And this was for your 30th birthday.
And this was my 30th birthday, which was January. And I'm releasing it this year. And again, it goes back to seeing these children fascinated with creativity.
Yeah.
But Lord Jesus, every career there be a nurse and pilot and police. Some say, no, I'm not going to complain. What I can do, I already have this reading project platform, and I started to put the book project together. So that will be released this year. And I pulled together 30 friends across many different careers across the region as well. And I'm excited about it because I guess an opportunity to looking at that fascination with the young children, with the different equipment that when we go in and they start asking us questions and that kind of thing, to actually turning to something tangible.
Yeah.
And again, that was a purpose that I had to redefine. Again, leaving a space where my creativity was kind of like dim.
Yeah.
And now, like a year and a half later, I'm about to publish a children's book that focuses on the things that I actually do care about.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. I'm very excited about that.
When is it being released?
I'm looking at probably
Published,
around
rather.
the summer thereabout. But there are a couple of activities like World Book Day, which I might announce something else, and then there's Read Across Jamaica Day, which is around May 7th thereabout. I'm in talks now to host a reading session because I actually do enjoy doing that. So yeah.
I love that, Joel. We're in the millennial mindset moment. We're almost wrapping up the episode. We have a fun game to play at the end. So I'm going to test his skills. Just share now, based on your experience. We're both 30. I can't believe it sometimes.
Yeah.
We both went to great schools, all of those things. But like, what's one thing you just want to leave here telling someone today that's coming up in the work world? Like, what can they do to just make it?
Listen. First of all, we are zoning, right? Nobody else is going to do anything for you. Nobody. Your workplace, your family, your man, your woman, your child. And I'm talking about millennials with children who feel like them life done because they pit in the barn. Reconfigure all of that. If you are passionate about something and you really want to see it get off the ground, get your community together and just do it. That's all I have to say. I feel like sometimes you just overcomplicate things. You're going to need your community. You're going to need support. Half the stuff that I was able to do and bring towards, my social impact marketing or whatever the case is because I had community. I know I'm a videographer. I know I'm a photographer. I know I'm a copywriter. And when they need my help, I give them help. And blah. Yeah. Come out to your head. If you have an idea, just execute it. Get a community, execute. It's not rocket science. If you want to sell elephant soap, it can be sold. There's a niche for everything. And if you feel like you cannot do it again, and this is what I have a lot of friends who have children and their entire life is focused on that child is going to grow up and fulfill for them own purpose. What about you? So just get up. If you're passionate about something, find a community, get a good support system and execute, and also set timelines to it as well.
I love that.
Stop listening to people and noise and one bag of noise and this and that and watch little toxic podcast them. I mean, this is good.
No indictment. The toxic podcast. I mean, they do very well, it seems.
Everybody have a podcast mic and everybody talking shit, and you kind of don't want to get into that. Like, just focus and tap into your true purpose. Sometimes you have to get offline as well to kind of really pull out that creativity. Man. But don't feel like you can't. There's something for everybody to do. But just ensure and understand that it's best when you have a community to help you execute it.
And I'm happy that we're a part of each other's community.
Yeah.
That's why you're here today.
Yes.
So yeah. So we're gonna play a quick game.
Oh Lord.
All right, so he's a marketing genius, so I want to see if he knows this. So the game is that I'm going to tell you a slogan and you're going to guess the brand.
Oh, shoot. That's
all right,
that's
so let's
terrible.
get into it. So we're going to start. The happiest place on earth.
Is that Disney?
Oh, okay. Ding, 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 ding. Looking in, looking out, looking even better.
CVM.
Yeah,
no,
CVM.
It's CVM.
Yeah,
no,
CVM.
The old one.
The old one. Yeah, but this new CVM hot.
Yeah.
Is it in you?
Gatorade.
Okay.
Oh, wow, I'm doing pretty good at this.
Finger licking good.
KFC.
All right, then. Do not work to impress, instead work for you.
Oh, wow. Is that you, Steph?
You said that. You actually said that. You actually said that.
Joel Nomdarkham.
Yes. And before we go, what's one of the best ad campaigns you've seen in Jamaica's history?
Oh, in Jamaica's history, just the other day I was thinking about one of the digital ads.
Digital.
Yeah. There was one when they were giving away, I don't remember what they were giving away, but Miss Kitty and all of them, and it was like a top agent, something, and the helicopter
Yes, that was good.
I think they were just giving away cars or something. But that was pretty cool. And then there was also there are some other ones that kind of stick out with the jingles, more like the jingles and thing. But there are a couple cool ads that I think have been done.
What's the worst? What's the? You can't talk about. You have to say the name, but like what?
Describe
industry?
it.
What industry? What industry was it?
It's those ads that are just so forced with the acting.
Miss Mama.
Yeah.
Why you not pay your light bill yet?
No, that was good. Last Come Back was one of the best ads them. But you have so much just weird. Alcor, windows and doors. Yeah, those were fun. But we can do better. I just want to see more inclusivity with the ads.
Love that.
Thank you so much, Joel, for being here. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Where you get your fashion icon inspiration from?
My mom.
Your mom.
Which is now taking my things in terms of with jewelry. Which, well, I mean, used to T4 things them still in terms of like them like a ring. Yeah, the other day, I just discovered this back. I said, which part this did they? But yeah, my mother, hot girl.
Thank you for being here. I'm proud of you. Wishing you all the best on your endeavors. And of course, you know, I'm happy that you are just doing your thing, living life unapologetically, being authentically you. And
what a business, but
yeah. That's another episode of Living Millennially with StefKai. You can follow Joel Nomdarkham on social media at
Nomdarkham.
Right. And don't go in him inbox. Him always say on social media. But if you have a business proposal, you get that. But thank you guys for joining. Tune in next time for another episode of Living Millennially with StefKai, where we unlock the millennial experience one episode at a time. Until next time, it's StefKai.
Yay!
Thank you. Clap. Thank you. Oh, Living Millennially.
Oh, we need to talk
right?
here.
That's the plug.
On that note.
Yes, yeah.
And Joel a prize, since he's somebody who loves to read. So we're just going to personally hand you this book. It's called A World of Prose.
You remember that?
So you can continue your writing, your reading.
Me read it. This was a great book, grade 9, grade 10.
Can we get some photos?